We've seen how determined voters are this election. Many are waiting hours in line, and others are even hopping on planes to cast their ballot. Kaela Bynoe goes to medical school in Baltimore. She was checking the mail every single day for her absentee ballot from her home state of Florida. When it didn't come, this 23-year-old booked a last-minute flight to Fort Lauderdale to vote in person. Bynoe told the Washington Post, quote, 5 hours of flying is more than worth it to prevent 4 more years of this president. Kaela Bynoe joins me now. Kaela, thank you so much for being here. A lot of people in your position would say, I did what I could. I requested the ballot, it didn't come, I give up. What led you to make the decision to be like, nope, I don't give up, I'm flying, I'm getting there, I'm voting?
This election, it's too important. I'm very unhappy with the current administration. I think that President Trump is incompetent. I believe that he lies constantly, that he is responsible for the rise of white supremacy and hyper-nationalism in this country, and that he puts his own ego above American lives, and I don't think that the country could survive another 4 years under his administration.
And you're a medical student, and so in terms of the pandemic and so being able to literally survive another 4 years of this president, how do you rate his handling of the pandemic? And does the pandemic specifically play into, why you think he should not be reelected to 4 more years? Did the pandemic change your view on Trump?
So I think that Trump has completely bungled the coronavirus pandemic response. He likes to talk about China, banning travel from China, but he seems to neglect to mention that he has continuously downplayed the severity of this pandemic since it began. I remember he encouraged a bunch of people to gather in the height of the pandemic. He issued wearing a mask and encouraged his supporters not to. He still, to this day, is leading a bunch of super spreader events. And so I went to medical school because I want to help people, but also because I believe in science and data and evidence. And Trump seems to be under the impression that he can lead this country through with wishful thinking. He's been telling us for 8 months that the coronavirus pandemic will be over, just wait. But it has been 8 months and nothing. We're about to hit a second wave. So yes, it definitely drove me to vote in this election, and I was going to go to whatever lengths I could to do it.
I feel like most people who are in science aren't like super keen on the president's response to COVID because he's ignoring all the scientists. Same goes for climate change. Scientists generally have a strong opinion on these types of things. And in an earlier interview, you said people are desperate to cast their ballot because we're almost at the point of no return. It feels like, we don't know what's going to happen next. There's a high level of uncertainty and instability. What did you mean by, we're at the point of no return?
I believe Trump has normalized a bunch of behaviors, and he's puts to the forefront conspiracy theories such as QAnon or touted miracle injecting yourself with bleach. He has encouraged hyperpartisanship. He only ever talks about this country in terms of red states and blue states. He does not lead the American people. He leads the people that support him, and that's not what he's supposed to be doing. And I think that he has caused a paradigm shift in this country where we're not looking out for each other. I think since the pandemic began, you see it's more of an attitude of got mine, I don't care about you. And I think that Trump has worsened this. And I think another 4 years, I think we're close to the precipice where we'll just be a country not united, but just enveloped with hate and racism and just ignorance. We don't listen to science. We'll be ignoring serious issues like climate change and response to the pandemic.
Yeah, it feels to me like, if you're going to ignore climate change and the science and all of that, then, you may not be the best person to be in charge when there is a global pandemic that requires scientific knowledge. Are your friends as motivated as you to vote?
I would say my friends, I'm probably have gone the most length, but that's just because I've had the I don't want to say bad luck because I don't think that me not receiving my ballot was unintentional, but my friends are definitely as about it.
That's good to hear. That means that the young people may show up this election cycle, and I'm excited to see it. Kaela, Bynoe, thank you so much for joining us. You're one of those young people that did vote, so you are defying the narrative that we always hear every cycle. Before we go, a quick programming note. Be sure to join me on election